This is dominating the conversations in the hallways of the Jefferson Health Training Complex, my friend. While everybody is busy watching the big money signings of free agency, Howie Roseman went ahead and made a quiet, calculated, almost overlooked move, but one that could be exactly the missing piece for the Eagles to dominate the NFC in 2026. We are talking about a former first-round pick, a guy with absurd speed, a 40-yard dash timed at 4.27 seconds, who arrived in Philadelphia for just $6.5 million. $6.5 million. In today's wide receiver market, that is practically free. But who is this player? And why does this move matter so much? Stay with me and I will break it all down for you. I am going to explain the full context of this signing, the impact on the Eagles' offense, and what it means for the 2026 season. But first, if you are a die-hard Eagles fan, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel, because free agency is still moving fast, and you do not want to miss a single update. Hit the notification bell too. The Philadelphia Eagles entered this offseason knowing they needed to fix a situation in the receiver core. Jahan Dotson, who filled the WR3 role over the last 2 seasons, was gone. He signed with the Atlanta Falcons in free agency. That left a real hole in the depth of the offense. But Roseman did not panic. He was surgical. The Eagles GM actually had interest in Darnell Mooney before closing any deal, but Mooney chose to sign with the New York Giants for around $10 million. The Eagles clearly were not willing to go into that range for a WR3, and that is where the name Marquise Hollywood Brown entered the picture. The deal was confirmed by insider Jordan Schultz, and later reported by Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, and Tom Pelissero of Hollywood Brown, who turns 29 in June, arrives as the 3rd wide receiver on the Eagles' depth chart, behind A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But this player's story goes way beyond a simple depth signing. Let's talk about who Hollywood Brown really is. The 2019 draft. The Baltimore Ravens select the young wide receiver with the 25th overall pick. The same pick that originally belonged to the Eagles, by the way, but that is a whole other story. Brown arrives in the league with speed that makes defenders look like statues. At his pro day, he clocked 4.27 seconds in the 40-yard dash. That number is not just a stat, it is a weapon. It is the kind of speed that forces safeties to backpedal the moment the ball is snapped. That opens up lanes in the middle of the field. That creates mismatches for every other receiver on the field. With the Ravens alongside Lamar Jackson, Brown developed his game year by year. In 2021, he exploded onto the scene. 91 receptions, 1,008 yards, and 6 touchdowns. A 1,000-yard season, the peak of his career to this day. Baltimore, sensing the value window, ended up trading Brown to the Arizona Cardinals at the 2022 draft in exchange for a first-round pick. A pick that would eventually become Tyler Linderbaum, the 3-time Pro Bowl center who just signed an $81 million contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. With the Cardinals, Hollywood had 2 solid seasons before a broken foot in 2022 brutally derailed his upward trajectory. That injury changed everything. Since returning from the foot injury, Brown has averaged just 36 receiving yards per game. He is not the same player he was in Baltimore. That is a fact. But my friend, the right question: over 16 games last season, he totaled 49 receptions, 587 yards, and 5 touchdowns. More important than the raw numbers, his average air yards per target was 11.30, the highest in a full season since 2023, when it was 11.74. And his yards after the catch average was 3.9 per reception, his highest since 2021. What does that tell us? That Brown still has the ability to function as a deep threat, still has the speed to work beyond the defense, and still creates after the catch. Kansas City used him exactly that way, as a WR3 option focused on the deep field and over the middle routes. And the most interesting part, Brown played 2 games against the Eagles. In Super Bowl 59, he was the one wearing a Chiefs jersey, feeling firsthand what it is like to face a Philadelphia defense in championship mode. Now, he arrives to play for the winning side. The real question becomes, how does Hollywood Brown fit into the Eagles' offense in 2026? And that is where this signing gains layers, my friend. Sean Mannion arrives as the new offensive coordinator, coming off 2 seasons in Green Bay alongside Matt LaFleur. The system Mannion brought to Philadelphia is built on creativity in ball distribution, varied pass depth, and taking advantage of the windows opened by receiver movement. Jalen Hurts has one of the most accurate deep balls in the NFL, but in 2025, The Eagles simply did not have a true vertical threat to stretch two high safety looks. Dotson was solid, but he was not that player. Hollywood Brown is. Having a true deep threat changes how safeties align. When a corner has to cover Hollywood on a fade or a post route, Saquon Barkley, the best running back in the world right now, benefits directly because running lanes become wider when defenses have to respect the vertical aerial threat. That is just the geometry of football, pure and simple. Now, there is an elephant in the room that we need to address. What about A.J. Brown's future? That is the variable that defines exactly what role Hollywood will have in Philadelphia. Recent reports indicate the Eagles held conversations with the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams about a potential A.J. Brown trade but opted against making a deal at this time. With Hollywood signed, the Eagles are covered in either scenario. If A.J. Brown stays, and everything suggests that Howie Roseman himself keeps saying, A.J. Brown is a member of the Eagles, then Hollywood is an excellent WR3, a complementary weapon, a luxury most teams would not have at that position. If A.J. Brown gets traded, Hollywood moves up to WR2 alongside Devonta Smith, with significantly more responsibility, and the Eagles can still go after another receiver in the draft. Notice how smart Roseman's move was here. For a maximum of $6.5 million, and likely less than that, given the heavy lifting the phrase, up to, is doing in that contract, Philadelphia equipped itself for two completely different scenarios. That is the kind of flexibility that defines championship teams. And that is exactly what Roseman has been doing this entire offseason. Calculated, low-risk moves with high return potential. For context, the Eagles also signed Elijah Moore to a one-year contract. Even with an early draft selection, Hollywood Brown would still have a place because speed at that level never sits on the bench. There is one historical data point worth highlighting. Over 7 NFL seasons with the Ravens, Cardinals, and Chiefs, Hollywood Brown accumulated 371 receptions, 4,322 yards, and 33 touchdowns. That is not a mediocre career. That is the career of a player who was interrupted by injury at a critical point in his development. With his health back and in the right system, he has every chance to recapture part of what that broken foot took from him. The question that Eagles fans are left with is exactly this. With Hollywood Brown as WR3, or even as WR2 in a scenario where A.J. Brown gets traded, does Jalen Hurts' offense have the depth and variety needed to get back to the Super Bowl in 2026? And if the Eagles draft a wide receiver in the early rounds, how does the receiver core hierarchy shake out? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know what you think about this Roseman move. Do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I will be back later with the latest Eagles news, just for you.